Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel Behind the Binary. This video is part 1 of the React.js full tutorial series. In this tutorial, we'll cover: what is React.js? What are components and how to create them? Managing state and props. Implementing CSS in React.js. Let's get started and build a strong foundation in React. To run React.js, we need Node.js installed on our system, and we use Visual Studio Code or any code editor to write and edit the code. To install the required library for creating a new React project, run the following command: npm install create react app. This installs the Create React App tool globally, which helps you quickly set up a new React project with all the necessary configurations. To create a new React application, run the following command: npx create react app project name. Replace project name with your desired project folder name. This command sets up a new React project with all the default configurations. React components are JavaScript functions which can be reusable. In a simple word, component is a reusable function. React pure component, which is rendering the same output for same input. The recipe method, which is showing on the screen, which acts as a pure function. This method defines React component named recipe and destructures the drinker's prop directly from the argument. It returns a JSX ordered list with 3 list items, dynamically using the drinker's value to calculate ingredient quantities. The output will be rendered based on the drinker's prop. The behavior of the output is changing depends on the property. The below small screenshot refers how this function is called inside another function. A React function should have at least one div tag to return the function. Extension will be .js or .ts or .tsx for all React function. React has 2 main types of components, which are functional components and class components. Class components are ES6 classes that extends React component. Include built-in lifecycle methods like component did mount, should component update, etc. Used more in older React codebases. Let's talk about functional components. These are JavaScript functions that return JSX. They are simpler, easier to test, and lightweight. Hooks like useState, useEffect, etc. are used here for managing state and side effects. React components go through a series of stages. These are called as lifecycle methods, which are mount, update, unmount. Let's first talk about mount. When mount function get involves, component is created and inserted into the DOM. When update happens when state or props change. React re-renders the component. Next, when unmount is called, component is removed from the DOM. React uses virtual DOM, which improves performance and predictability and cross-platform. Let's have a look. What is real DOM and what is virtual DOM? The real DOM is the actual representation of the HTML structure rendered in the browser. It is slow to update because every change, like updating text or attributes, causes the entire DOM tree or large parts of it to re-render. Direct manipulation of the real DOM leads to performance bottlenecks, especially in complex UI applications. The virtual DOM is a lightweight JavaScript object that is a copy of the real DOM. When a component state changes, React first updates the virtual DOM. Then, it compares, using a process called diffing, the updated virtual DOM with the previous one to identify the minimal number of changes needed. Let's have a look what are the major concepts of JavaScript which are most useful in learning React.js. Spread operator is used to expand the set of values from one element to another element. In the screen you can find that I'm taking an array integer values and storing in a variable. Next, I'm taking one more array and assigning to another variable. Now, using 3 dots, I'm importing ARR variable to another array. When we use 3 dots to combine with another array which is called spread operator. Let's print this both arrays in console to check the output. The second array after using spread operator, which will contain the data of first array and second array combined in one variable. After executing this, you can now observe the result in the console. Let's talk about REST operator. REST operator will accept infinite number of arguments as array. Let's have a look at the example, how this REST operator works when we create a function with REST parameter. am creating a function named test, which is accepting infinite number of arguments using REST operator. In this function, I'm printing the values of REST array. Using this 3 dots previously, we are able to expand the array of values using spread operator. Now we are able to get infinite number of values to the test function using REST operator. Based on the usage of operator, the behavior of operator will change. Let's push few integer values as a parameter to this function and check how it is working. You can now observe the output it is showing as how we pushed to the test method, which is accepting infinite number of elements to it. am now pushing more number of elements to it. Let's check that output as well. Now, I have pushed 10 elements to the function you can now observe, which is even fetching more number of elements and printing on the console. Let's have a look about destructuring. Destructuring is a JavaScript feature that allows you to unpack values from arrays or properties from objects into distinct variables in a clean and concise way. Let's have a look how destructuring works. am taking a sample of array which is holding combination of integer values as well as string values, where I want to destructure the values into individual variables. Now first I'm taking 2 variables and storing a and b as constants. am now logging a and b in console to check the output. You can now observe in the output which will extract or destructure from the beginning of array. If I add the comma between a and b, which will extract the third parameter to b. Similarly, if I add 2 commas in between and b, which will extract fourth value of array. Similarly, we can also perform destructuring on objects. You can now observe on the screen I have added a sample of object destructuring. Let's look map function, which creates a new array by applying a function to each element of the original array. Filter function creates a new array with only the elements that pass a condition. That is where the function returns true. I took a random data in an array, and I have stored them in a variable. Now using map function iterating through elements inside the array and trying to print on the console. Map function will accept 2 parameters which are value and index. Value will contain the value of element. Index will generate unique value for each iteration. The most important thing is while using map through HTML manipulation, we have to use key attribute in HTML tags. Map function will throw a warning if do not use key prop while binding HTML content. Now you can observe the output for both map and filter. Map is iterating through elements, where filter is extracting when the given condition is true. 4 more JavaScript functions. am adding a URL with deep explanation in description. Please find it on the description. A component in React is a reusable, independent piece of UI that works like a JavaScript function. Components are the building blocks of any React application. We have 2 types of components in React.js, which are class component and function component. Most of the older versions are made with class components. The latest versions are built with function components. Let's quickly check how both components works and how we can manage the state. After creating the project, the structure will look like this. It has a function component in app.js. Let's first explore class component first, then we will explore function component. am removing all the code from here and adding a class component. The class component extends from React component, creating the constructor function where we can import the props. In class components, we will have a render method which renders HTML content. A class component is one of the 2 main ways to write components in React, the other being functional components. It's based on ES6 classes and was the standard way to handle state and lifecycle methods before React hooks were introduced. All class components must have a render method which returns JSX. am adding some HTML content in the render method to see the output. It should contain at least 1 division in the render method. Now you can see the output on the right-hand side, which will render the content which updated in the render method. Now, let's create the state object in the component and let's check how it works. am adding an object with a property called name in the component. Adding test data to test the state. After adding the state, the same state we can use anywhere inside the component. am trying to add the name property of state object inside the div tag. In the output, you can now see state object is now working inside component. This is how the class component works in React.js. Now let's see how function component works in React.js. I am removing all of this code and adding a function component in app.js file. We have to export this function component in the app.js file explicitly by default. Render method will not be there in function component. But function component should return at least one div tag inside component. I am adding test data to test the component. Let's also look how state works in function component. We have to manage the state in function components using hooks. To manage the state, we have to use useState hook. And useEffect hook will render on load with having dependency list. I am adding useState hook and storing them in a variable as name and setName. SetName will set the state. We can use this name state inside the component. After creating the state, we have to maintain this state to set state on load. For that, we have to call useEffect hook in this component and set the state using setName. After setting the state, I'm using this on the div tag which we are returning in the component. You can see here it is asking for dependency list. We can make useEffect hook run on dependency change. But here I am making empty array because I want to load this on page render. And setting the state. After setting state, I'm using this name property on div to render on div tag. We can simply call it as name, no need to use this keyword like class components. It accepts props, where we can transfer props from parent to child, which is called as prop drilling. In the output, you can now see that name is getting fetched. This is how the function component works. Managing the state using hooks. React components are most flexible to reuse the functionality. In the previous section, we discussed how to manage state using the useState hook. Now, let's explore the concept of prop drilling. Prop drilling refers to the process of passing data from a parent component down to deeply nested child components through one or more intermediate components, even when those intermediate components don't actually need to use the data themselves. This is common in React and other component-based libraries. To demonstrate this, we'll create a new JavaScript file called child.js, where we'll define a component that receives and uses props passed from its parent. Let's now create a function component called child in the child.js file. We'll define the component and export it so it can be used in other parts of the app. The child component will receive props, which is simply an object containing the data passed from the parent component. There are two common ways to access props in a functional component. Using the entire props object, you access each property using dot notation. Destructuring props directly in the function parameter. You pull out specific properties right when the function is defined. Let's first look at how it works using the object-level approach. From the props object, we're extracting the title and name properties that are being passed from the parent component. We're also writing some simple test content to verify that the child component is receiving the props correctly. When using the object-level approach to prop drilling, we can choose to use specific props as needed, or simply ignore any that aren't necessary in the child component. Alternatively, we can use object destructuring in the function parameter to directly access the props we expect from the parent. This method also allows the component to function even if certain props are not passed, as JavaScript will treat them as undefined by default. Now, I'm using the child component inside the parent component and passing only the props that I need. If there are any props we choose not to pass, that's perfectly fine. JavaScript will handle them gracefully by treating them as undefined, so there's no need to worry about passing unnecessary data. Now that we've added the code, let's take a look at the output to see how the props are working inside the child component. You can now observe that the output is being displayed in the right-hand side of the screen, where the paragraph from the child component is being printed. Now, let's explore another approach, defining the object properties directly in the child function component using destructuring with default values. This method allows us to assign default values to props, so even if a prop isn't passed from the parent component, the child component can still function without errors. Let's see how the JavaScript file handles these undefined properties gracefully. With this setup, if the parent passes a value for title or name, that value will be used. If a prop is not passed, the component will fall back to the default values, default title, and guest in this case. This prevents the component from displaying undefined or throwing errors when props are missing. It's a simple yet effective way to handle optional props and make your components more flexible and error-resistant. Let's see how the JavaScript file handles these undefined properties gracefully in practice. You can now observe that even after removing the name property from the parent component, the child component is still working as expected. This is because it's using the default value defined through destructuring, which ensures the component doesn't break when certain props are missing. In React.js, we can implement CSS styles in multiple ways such as global CSS, CSS modules, inline styles, styled components, and utility-first frameworks like Tailwind CSS. Each method offers different levels of scoping, flexibility, and maintainability depending on your project needs. Here, I'm demonstrating how to implement inline styles in React by adding margin, padding, background color, and text color, foreground color. You can observe the output in the browser, where the applied inline styles are reflected in the rendered component. We can also extract these styles into a separate variable to reuse them throughout the component. I'm storing the styles in a constant variable named div_styles, which can be reused throughout the component. This is one of the useful features of React, allowing for cleaner and more maintainable code. We can also place these styles in a separate JavaScript file and export them, allowing us to import and reuse them wherever needed across the project. By using these types of style variables, we can make the codebase more maintainable and consistent. Now, let's create an external CSS file and see how it works. We can define styles in a separate .css file and import it into a React component. Using the class name attribute, we can apply the CSS classes defined in the external style sheet to our JSX elements. I'm creating a CSS class named div_styles that includes margin, padding, background color, and text color. After defining this class in the test.css file and importing it, we can use the class in any React component by applying it via the class name attribute. Now, in the app.js file, I'm importing the test.css file and applying the div_styles class to app.div to style it with the defined CSS. The project is now compiling. After compilation, you can see that the styles are applied to the div element. The styles are applied just like with inline styles when using external CSS. Now, let's change some colors and observe how the output updates. The output updates immediately when we modify the styles in the CSS file. This is how we implement CSS styling in React.js. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we'll dive deeper into React.js and explore more concepts.